Back now live at Madison Square Garden, New York, and number 11s everywhere, of course. 54 years they waited for somebody to come along and give them a Stanley Cup, and right next to Adam Graves and Mike Richter, Mark Messier, the only man to captain 2 cities to all the marbles. Congratulations, Mark. Every time they see you, they love you. Before we get to this Game 3 tonight, Mark, and the Rangers ride, the Mark Messier Leadership Award, which you brought along in 2007. It's no surprise captains are right there, and Dustin Brown of the Los Angeles Kings has been in it 3 years in a row, so you must think a ton of Brown and what he brings.
I can't say enough about what he's done, and I always get back to what Wayne Gretzky started in LA when he went there, and when he left, what was going to happen to hockey in the South and what was going to happen to hockey in LA, and what the Kings have done to get to the point right now of winning a Stanley Cup a couple years ago. And the people that were responsible for carrying that mantle there, Dustin Brown has got to give him a lot of credit, and his teammates around him there, because that's a big responsibility, growing the game in that area there, and for what Wayne started and what they've taken off from him. A lot of credit goes for him, and his on-ice performance as well.
Right.
I mean, everybody's thinking that he's at the end of his career, but he's playing unbelievable in these playoffs there. But what a great guy off the ice there, the way he's emerged as a leader in the community and all the things he does for children.
$50 for every hit he designates to charity, and he picks a different charity each year.
And that's a lot of hits.
Yes, it
because
is.
He finishes every check, so what a great way to give some money.
And Ryan Getzlaf is just continuing to become a star. He always was, but this year with his Olympic performance, and again what he did with the Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah, another guy that has just, over his career, showed the consistency of a champion there. You think about what he's done for Canada from the Olympic team, and you talk to people in the inner circles there, who are the guys in the dressing room that are taking control of the situation, and Getzlaf's name comes up every time. A Stanley Cup winner, a guy that's reached out to the community, and another franchise that's had to go in there and basically grow their fan base, and he's been a big part of that. So he's really kind of reflects everything that their leadership award's about.
And Mark, the third candidate for the award this year, and that'll be presented, of course, at the NHL Awards in Las Vegas. And I'll kind of lump this with a question. When the Kings get through Jonathan Toews, do you think they're going to have a letdown? Is it kind of natural for Los Angeles, having beaten Getzlaf and the Ducks, having come out of the 0-3 hole against San Jose, and then to get Toews? Because he's not easy to topple.
It's remarkable what the Kings have been able to do to get to where they are today. Not only from the teams and the matchups they've had to endure, but also the way they've had to do it from coming from behind in so many games there. You just can't say enough about the team. But Jonathan Toews, as we're seeing right now, think about the things that he's done. And I've never been a big proponent of the young guys becoming captains too early because of the responsibility and the pressure that it can really put on them. But he seemed to have been able to thrive in that situation there, and he's never taken a step backwards. And as a captain, you know, even when you're struggling, you still got to get outside your own self to make sure that you're responsible for the other teams, other guys in your team there. And at a young age, he's had that maturity that's just unbelievable. And I can't say enough, and what a great nomination he's been.
Well, that's actually a good question. When you came into the dressing room, we interviewed you before Game 7 in '94, Mark. Vancouver Canucks' 7th game, and it was 3-1. You'd kind of blown it a bit, but you were very loose, and I was amazed at that. I wondered if it would be harder as you grew older to be the leader you were when you were kind of young and loose as a goose. Because Brad Richards, Marty St. Louis, they've got to kind of lead right now in a pretty critical situation.
Sometimes experience can work against you because you know what's at stake and how much it means to everybody, and the pressure that is going to come along with it there. In the end, I think experience is never a detriment. In my experience, anyways, it's never a detriment to a team and on their way to a Stanley Cup. And the Rangers are here because they have great leadership. They don't need a captain or a letter on the jersey. The players inside the dressing room know who's the leader. They know who the leaders are, and they wouldn't be out here at this position right now today if they didn't have great leadership inside that locker room.
And you knew that, and that's one of the reasons you'd have been willing to coach this club if Glenn had needed it. What do they got to do to try and get back in the series tonight?
Not change a thing. If I was flying home on that team and talking about after the disappointment of losing in double overtime, it's always heartbreaking to lose a game in the playoffs, never mind the Stanley Cup Finals in double overtime. Having said that, you get up, the sun comes up, you get on the plane, and what a great opportunity they have in front of them. And if you really think about it, the Rangers have dominated at times, and you know they haven't played or made the right play at the right time in those two games to actually get a win. but it was right there for the taking there, and hopefully tonight we'll see if they can do that.
I'll come back to the blown leads, because that's all over the playoffs this year, but you know that Ranger team has become a team, and you kind of pinpointed one thing that happened that really galvanized them. They became like the Oilers of old, or like Los Angeles has got loyalty and they're a good team. And what was the moment for you that this team seemed to be there for one another?
This year's team?
Marty St. Louis, perhaps?
I think that's one, but I think it started before that. I think it actually started a few years back where after being with the team for the last 4 years, I know the character in that dressing room. I know that these players care deeply about the game and they want to win, and they put the work in to get to where they are right now. So there's a tremendous amount of character in the dressing room. But I think with the coaching change and the rough schedule that they had, it kind of forced them to ask questions that you might not normally have to ask till later in the season when you face adversity. But with a new coach and a tough start, they had to get down to the brass tacks pretty early this year, and I think it really benefited them. And then as they've gone through, they've grown closer. They got more trust in the coach. They got to understand what the coach wanted. They believed in the systems. And probably the most important factor is that they had excellent performances from everybody on the team, from all 4 lines, and of course 6 defensemen, and then backstopped by Lundqvist. So it's been building for a long time. And as these playoffs have gone through, they have continued to grow as a team. And of course, you mentioned Marty St. Louis. Every team looks for sources of inspiration. You never want a death in the family, and only a guy like Marty and his character can handle that. But the players' own character showed through in that regard because of the support that they gave them. And so this whole kind of incredible opportunity came out of something so devastating. And, you know, that's what teams do. They either diminish when they get to those particular points of a season, or you get stronger, and the Rangers decided that they had more of a story to tell this year, and here we are.
Tremendous. If they're half as ready as you made me feel there, that's great, Mark.